Here is NAMOR number 6, which came out on January 8th, 2025, published by Marvel Comics. It actually doesn't go this way, it goes this way, but this is the one of the variant covers. And the funny thing about this series is that I've been buying most of them with the variant cover edition instead of the cover A, which is odd for me because I usually get the cover A's. But and usually I've been getting the variant covers on this Namor series because they're a little more interesting and more appealing to me than the cover A. In this case, I had intended to get the variant cover, but this was all that was available at my local comic shop. They just had the variant covers, so for some reason. So I've been buying it since it came out. This is issue number 6, and there's only 2 more issues to go. I have reviewed some of the previous issues, number 1 and 2, I think, on my YouTube channel. I'll have links to those in the description below. And so there's only 2 more issues left, I believe. Number 8 will be the final issue. And I'm not going to show the whole issue here, but I just wanted to talk about a few things about it. It's written by Jason Aaron, and as usual, drawn by Paul Davidson and Alex Lenz. And again, I'm never quite sure who is actually drawing which bit, because one of the artists is drawing the current Submariner, which is like this scene here. And then the other artist is drawing the scenes usually with the younger Submariner, young Namor, as he's takes his place on the throne. So some of the stuff you probably have to know what is going on. You know, you might want to have read the previous issues of the series. But on the other hand, some of this can be just taken on its own as a standalone story. Like, you don't necessarily have to have read all the previous issues, but it is forming one big epic where there's all these various underwater people trying to vie for the throne of, King of the Seas. And Namor doesn't want anything to do it, but he's trying to stop this war. And each issue he's coming across a different character that is like trying to be the king. Now in this issue, he's in this area where there's this brine, which is like a sort of poisonous liquid. And there's this woman here that is contemplating her fate and wanting to go into the brine, it seems, because of things that have suffered. She finds out that he's Namor, and she's not happy about it. She kind of convinces him to... she tries to tell him he should go kill himself. But it turns out she's not there to kill herself. She has a little baby that she drops into the brine, saying, it's better for my child this way. It'll be quicker this way. He was like, no. So he jumps in to save the baby. And then he's sort of like lying there on the floor, of the ocean floor, the brine floor. And all this other stuff happens where there's these creatures that are one of the creatures that are vying to be the king of the seas. This creature who knew him back when he was a young Namor and had wanted him to go to this certain place to pay homage to Neptune and things like that, and he refused to do it. He was bucking tradition by doing that. So then we cut back to that scene drawn by the different artists of the younger Namor, and there's that creature again who had been trying to tell him he needed to go to the Grotto of the Ancients. So there's this whole big thing where Namor has basically defeated all these other lords of, the underwater world. And so he's sort of reigning supreme. Then it cuts back to the modern time where he's fighting that guy with the tentacles in his face. He's fighting him, blah, blah, blah. So he ends up coming out saving the baby, right? And it's like, okay, the baby is rescued. The woman has run off. This is that brine, that is poisonous to him or whatever. He puts the baby on this fish, dolphin or something, and tied it to there to rescue it. Oh, he'll be cared for until this war is done. And so he's standing there in front of the brine, kind of looking at it. And then this wave pops up, and it's Submariner himself. It's his double, sort of the King Namor. or Prince Namor or whatever, and wearing the hat, and they even have the old Submariner logo there. And so he's fighting himself, right, through this whole bit. That's a big thing. And finally, when the the thing was the double saying, to kill yourself, he was like, "No, you do it." Maybe it's like a sort of suicidal feeling in him, but then he fights against it. But he's killing himself. He's fighting, his double, and he ends up killing his double, which is a way of killing himself. Namor is dead, although it looks now like a younger Namor rather than, the Namor with the crown on his head. So I don't know if it was intended that way or the artist screwed up or what, but I think it was intended to sort of show him killing his younger self. So, anyways, and then it says, "I wake, still in the brine pool, quivering from toxic shock. The fight, the murder, was it all in my mind? Some trick of the poisonous brine?" So he's still back in that grotto with those skeletons. So I'm thinking, did any of this stuff happen? Did he actually save the baby? Because he started to see himself when he was out of the grotto or whatever. So, I don't know. I mean, I assume it's so, because we'd have to go all the way back here to when he first went in that brine and was lying in there. This is the skeleton guy, the Orphan King. So I don't know. I assume all that stuff really happened and that he did save that baby. Otherwise, he just has been sitting in the brine all this time. Anyways, this is where that other artist who had normally drawn the young Namor stuff, this is where he draws the modern Namor for this sort of double splash. And then, let's see, he comes out of the brine, and then this is sort of the big showdown between all the different, these are all the different people vying to be the king, as including like Atuma there. But this is like the woman that he was his childhood friend. So I'm hoping that they don't really face off. I'm hoping that they sort of team up together, because it seems like he's sympathetic to her. She was a friend when he was younger. But, she's part of this too. So he's going to take them all on. And so let the king be crowned in carnage, Namor, the last king of Atlantis. So there's still 2 issues to go, but it looks like we're sort of wrapping up towards the conclusion here. So we'll see what happens. But now, one of the things I like about this series is that, it is $4.99, but you get 30 pages of story content, 30 pages of comics. Whereas nowadays, you're getting $4.99 and you're only getting like 20 pages of content for a lot of traditional Marvel comics. It used to be that, a couple of years ago, if you paid $4.99, you were getting more content. Like Action Comics and Detective Comics were $4.99. You had like 2 stories per issue. Well, now you're only getting 1 story per issue. They've sort of eased people into the idea of paying $4.99 for a standard comic book instead of just $3.99. So this might be one of the last of the the $4.99s where you're getting more content. I assume that at some point here, you're just going to be paying $4.99 for 20 pages, and for a mini series like this or a special first issue or whatever. So I assume now, if you were to have a mini series like this, they wouldn't have it as $4.99 with 30 pages. It would be, well, see, I don't know if they would want to have $5.99 for 30 pages, because people aren't accustomed to paying $5.99 every month yet. That'll probably eventually be the case where it bumps up to $5.99. But people aren't there yet for that price point. They're more into $4.99 for, for a monthly comic book. So we'll see. But this is, like I said, currently it's a good bargain. And it's a good story, and it's drawn well. You have consistency because it's drawn by the same two artists throughout, even though you're jumping back and forth with different art styles. There's still consistency to that because of each artist drawing a different time period. So I'm surprisingly enjoying it. I just picked this up on a whim, the first issue on a whim, and then just started getting it every issue. So now I'm getting it every, all of them, as they come out. 2 more issues to go, and I'm enjoying it. I recommend Namor by Jason Aaron. Thanks for watching.